So tell me about the fuel on the farm.
Well, the farmers had tractors. Although when I was there, we didn't have tractor. We didn't have a tractor yet. It was after I left there, but other people did. So I know that there was companies in Marshall. I suppose it was brought from some bigger city out to Marshall, and then they would deliver to the farmers. But the farmers had tanks on their farm.
So this is diesel? No.
I don't think so.
Just gas?
Yeah, it wasn't diesel because I never heard the word diesel for years.
So was it that red dye stuff like they have now?
I don't think so. I don't remember that. Because I can remember that my aunt used to, she never took anything to dry cleaning, I don't think. But somehow she would use gas. My mother never did that, but she didn't. Yeah, she'd and I'm sure it was gas that she used, gasoline or something.
But not for everything, just like...
Oh, no, for like some special dry cleaning clothes. Because I still remember how they were hanging out on the line afterwards.
Mm.
But my mother never did that.
So then maybe tell me about they deliver coal or heating oil, or what did you guys use?
We had heating oil. I think they delivered that too. Because there was barrels, tank? There was tanks outside, yeah. And I remember going out and getting it and bringing it inside and putting it in the tank that was on the stove. On the back of the stove, sort of was got a tank, and you'd put it in there. That's a small quantity, though, just a little,
But then you had a heater there by Grandma's bedroom.
That's what that was. That was a gas. That was an oil heater.
But you just said it was in the kitchen. No, the stove.
Well, there was. Stove. There was a kitchen stove. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
There was the stove, but there was, after I left there, then she had the little, I call it electric, but it was propane, I think.
Oh.
That little stove. But the other one, she had to have wood or coal or something. That was, you had to do that one.
This is a cooking one.
Cooking stove.
You could use coal in a cooking stove.
In the wintertime, you almost had to.
Oh.
Not in the summer, but almost in the winter, you had to use some.
So did you ever see Grandma Peeny's stove?
I was there. I should have seen it.
Did it look like that? Like it had the two...
Oh, no. We never had one like that.
Oh.
It was just kind of a plain.
Oh.
No. Yeah, you had to use some coal when it got as cold. Well, I don't ever remember it being as cold as it is there now, but maybe it was because we didn't have the
wind chill
and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But yeah, you'd have to put some coal in. And especially if you wanted to keep the heat overnight, you had to put in coal. That's the thing that would keep the heat. Keep it going, yeah. And remember, there was a little building by the house there. Maybe you don't, because I think that probably was
several little buildings. I don't know.
No, not by the house.
Okay. By the house.
There was one
by the kitchen. Which side of the house?
Yeah, it was the kitchen side.
Kind of where Grandma.
We used to call it the coal house. We used to call it the coal house.
Oh.
But it was a little, and that's where you would keep even they would use cobs to start, like if.
That's when you had all the corn cobs, you put them in there?
Yeah, you'd put them in there, yeah. And that was mostly if you wanted to get your fire going or
like
just a little fire, yeah. But you'd also put your coal in there if you had coal, it was for winter time. So you didn't have to go very far to get it because it was just right close by. We used to always, I think we used to call it the coal house.
So when Grandma fell in the well, that was near that building?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that side of the house. Do you remember the clothesline? It was attached to that side of the house, and it was under the clothesline where she fell.
So for a long time, you guys walked over it.
Oh yeah, so did she. Never knew it was there.
So someone had covered it up with boards or something?
Well, yeah, and then dirt got over it. Yeah, I think there was boards over it, and they rotted, of course, after a certain length of time. Yeah. And then she just because I hung clothes on that line for years. We all walked over. And not only people walked over, I'm sure there were horses that went over that when they were taking stuff places.
Mm.
Yeah, that showed that she was a tough lady.
Carrie might not know that story, so you should say it.
Well, it was a clothesline, and she just went out to take something off the clothesline, and she just went down. And it was I think it was in the fall. It wasn't winter yet, but it was fall, but it was chilly. And she just went down, and she had this dog. I think it was a dog that her brother Tom had given to her. I can't remember his name, but I think
Was it Kazan?
Kazan, that's
Was
right.
Kazan?
Yes, it was Kazan. And
Which brother?
Tom.
He's the one with the $3.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, I suppose she was close to the two, but he was pretty close to her at age too. So I think. And it happened in the afternoon, but I think kept getting colder and colder.
Oh.
And she tried to get out, but it was where the well had brick around it down here.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I don't know how deep it was, but it was deep enough so she couldn't crawl over it. But anyway, with her fingers, she just dug and dug till she got enough bricks so she could stand on them and get herself out. But the dog barked the whole while, I guess. And the neighbors heard the dog barking because there was people lived right across the road from us. But I guess they didn't think much about it because I guess the dog barked a lot.
Oh.
But she finally got out.
What time of day was that?
It was getting pretty dark, I think.
Oh, really?
But she said her ends of her fingers were all bleeding by the time she got out. And what was the story is she called May.
She took 2 aspirin.
That's right. That's right. She got out and I knew there was something. She took 2 aspirin, yeah. And then she called May. And then I think they came out and got her.
Oh, really?
Took her into town for a
Really?
while, yeah. Yeah.
Poor dog, he must have been exhausted too.
It probably was. Yeah. And that's the dog that would let the cats sleep in his fur in the wintertime on the porch because it was not heated. Yeah.
That was like the sun porch kind of. I mean, it would be sort of like grass.
Yeah, it used to be the fur. Well, no. There was a porch on the other side, and that really, I think when the house was built, that's where people would come in, because that was a nicer
That was
part.
supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah, but this was for the back, but that's the one we always knew about. That was our porch, yeah. But later she had it closed in with glass. When we were home, it wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't?
No.
It was just screened in?
Yeah, that's why the dog was keeping it, yeah. But later, after we left, she did get it glassed in. I think when World War II came along, and after that, then the crops and everything, because that's when they put in the bathroom and the stuff in the kitchen, because that wasn't there.
So the bathroom, I don't even remember where it was. Was it off of the kitchen?
Yeah, and I think that was the school part, and there was.
That was a school.
Well, that was an
where
old
the
school.
kitchen was.
Oh yeah, that's the part. Do you remember when you went from the living room to the kitchen, you had to go up a little bit?
Kind of.
Well, that was the breaking point. The kitchen was all in the front there. It was.
So the kitchen was the old school. Oh,
Correct.
I see. I mean, it was a pretty big room. I remember Grandma had a place you could lay down there.
Oh yeah, and then there was like where they put the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then there was a pantry, pretty big pantry.
Oh, so that wasn't there either before.
Oh yeah, that was all the school.
No, but I mean, they added on to make,
No, that was all school.
Oh, and then they just divided it to make the pantry and the...
I think it was there when it was school.
Oh, the bathroom and the pantry.
It wasn't bathroom, and it wasn't pantry. Well, pantry maybe, yes. I think maybe the bathroom was where kids put their coats and stuff.
Oh, I see.
And I don't know what they used. Where the pantry was, I don't know what the teacher used that for.
Maybe supplies
Cooking, yeah. Mm-hmm. And maybe she had to cook for herself, so maybe there was.
Did she live there?
I don't know. Probably not. Because I know Mom did live. I don't think when she was teaching she lived. with a family. I think she did out west. Out west, though. If that's Virginia again, I'll tell her who.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell her about.
Hello? Oh, this is Mary again, but
She asked one time who the salesperson was.
oh,
It's Diane. You knew her, Diane Tierney.
just my mom's telling me that she found the receipt from when they had the curtains done. If that helps anything. Okay.
And
Okay.
tell her Diane Tierney was the her she.
Okay, got it. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'll be gone, but Mom will be here, and I appreciate knowing. Thank you. Bye bye.
The reason is she asked me who sold it.
Oh.
That's what was trying to.
Well, what she said was that they'll make you a new one for free, but they'll put the installation's about $45. But she said to get them to do that, she needs to know those numbers or whatever they're up there, and she didn't want us to have to take it down and then take it to her, and you wouldn't have a shade. So she's trying to be thoughtful and have the guy come and then put it back up.
Well, that's great because
But that's what she said.
I never knew there was any guarantee when we bought it, because that's quite a few years.
At least that's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Well, there must be some guarantee. They wouldn't be coming out and doing what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, she said there'd be a $45 installation
Well, that's
fee. So
okay.
I take it that means they're going to do the other.
Yeah. Okay.
And then she said that the guy called her. And it'll be another hour before he comes.
Okay.
So I guess I need to record that. Did you turn it off?
No, I don't know how to turn it on.
I don't know. Why doesn't it come on?
Will you erase?
Yeah, I can. Got it. Why is it doing? Okay.
Okay, it's winter time and we're over in the schoolhouse section of and during the winter time, one winter it was very, very cold, and the price of coal was more than what my dad could get for corn. And other farmers did that too, because you'll see that in stories.
That they trade?
They burned corn and they didn't buy coal. So
And that was because he didn't do well with his crop, right? Because the corn was less.
no, that's just what the market was.
Oh.
The market was, you weren't getting, I think it was 3 cents a bushel or something like that, and the coal was much more expensive. And it was during the Depression, so everything was bad. It was just a bad time all around. Okay, but above on the schoolhouse section of our house, there was 2 bedrooms.
Okay.
And so that winter, for those few months,
How did you get into them?
there was a stairway. You probably don't remember. When you come in the house, there was a door, and behind the door was another door. And most people didn't even know that. You didn't even pay any attention.
Went up that
There
way.
was a stairway. You went up that way, yeah. But anyway, so there was 2 bedrooms. Eileen and I slept in one, and Mom and Dad slept in the other. But in their bedroom, there was a window. But in ours, there wasn't, and I just hated to go to sleep. I didn't like it very well. It was pretty
really
dark,
dark, yeah.
And I can remember there's a stovepipe from the kitchen used to went up there too. But we used it just mostly storage. We didn't really. It wasn't like a bunch of stuff. No. But it was only a few months in the winter, probably 2 or 3 months when it was really cold. But it was during the Depression too, like I say. But nothing was very good then.
So that was just 1 year? More than one?
Yeah, that was only 1 year, and it was like I say, it was just. The Depression lasted longer than that, but this burning corn, and I said it was probably just a few months during the coldest part of the winter. But there were others did this, because you'll read it in stories. I read it in stories in other states.
Yeah, people would remember something like that.
Yeah. Because even though we burned our corn, we probably didn't have much of a crop. Besides it, yeah.
So if there was extra corn at the end of the spell, then...
Well, we had pigs. We had pigs.
Yeah.
The pigs, we always fed them corn.
Pigs.
Yeah. And we always had horses and cows and pigs and chickens. Those four we always had. Once in a while we'd have, I can remember having sheep for a while, or
Oh, really?
like geese for a while, but the other four we had always had.
But the pigs and the...
You're talking about when they're in the winter time?
No, just the pigs and the geese and the chickens, they were all for food, yes? No? The sheep? I don't know.
Well, no, because we never butchered a sheep. But anyway, pigs, cattle and pigs, they were sold at market. Mm-hmm. They were big. You've seen, well, the trucks we had weren't as big as the ones here, but they would take them to St. Paul. There was a market there.
Oh, I
and
see.
I can remember many times my dad would go with the trucker and see that they were sold or decide yes, no, and then he would come home with a check. I can remember that. And Bernice's husband, Carl Furman, that's what he did. I mean, he had a farm too. He farmed, but he did that also. Trucker, hauling stuff to St. Paul.
Oh, he was a trucker. Oh.
Hauling stuff to St. Paul.
Oh, I see. So that would be once a year, twice a year, fall, or?
Well, probably once or twice a year, depending on what you had that was ready for market. But I think it was mostly cattle that he would take. There must have been pigs too, though. So those two would be.
So what did you do with the geese? Would you eat those?
I don't know. I don't know. Gave them away probably.
I don't like geese.
Anybody wanted a goose for Christmas? You gotta get a goose. I don't know. No, we didn't sell them.
So Grandma,
Mom always got friendly with people in town, though. She might have given it to them or sold it to them, or because I can remember this lady was a teacher, and I remember my mother making butter and bringing it to her. I think she wanted homemade butter, and so
you mean like on a regular basis?
Kind of, but she taught both Eileen and I Latin classes, you know.
Wow.
And have you seen people with just a deformed arm?
You mean like Kelly's friend, the one that?
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah,
yeah.
And she was like that. She had, I think it was her right hand too, because I can still see her holding a book like this.
Oh yeah.
Because she had a little. And I can remember my mother, and I think she'd bring her milk and cream, but I can still remember her making butter and bringing her to. Her name was Miss Beeble.
So how Grandma made the old-fashioned, like with the butter churn and all that?
Yeah.
Wow. How long did it take?
It kind of it varied. It just depended on how your cream was,
how creamy it was.
I think they usually had to. Well, when you do it that way, I think you had to have sour cream butter. I don't know.
Sour cream. So you started with sour cream.
Yeah. I think this sweet cream butter is a new invention.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Because I don't remember. Because I know it was sour cream. I know that my mother was using, and I can remember.
But she'd make the sour cream from the.
Well, she'd let it sour.
Yeah, let it sour.
But I remember one time.
So is it like buttermilk when it's sour?
Well, it's sour butter. Yeah, it tastes.
I mean, I don't know what the difference is, buttermilk and sour.
Buttermilk.
It's what you get besides
after you
the
make
butter.
the butter.
Yeah,
okay. But I was going to tell you this story. It was a friend of ours. I don't remember, but I just remember the story. And they were visiting, and my mother was churning butter, and they had a little boy, and he got near the butter, and there's a thing you could turn it off and on. And he turned the wrong thing, or he got near to some, and I guess it all went all over the floor. They had a mess.
Dear.
Yeah. I don't remember. I probably was little
you
too.
It was churn automatically?
No. You would have to somebody do it.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, he went the opposite way?
Well, whatever. Well, no, he wasn't doing it. He got close to it, but where you put the cream in, it had some kind of a thing.
Oh.
Somehow he got near that, or maybe he turned it.
Could be.
Yeah, but anyway, that was a story they always told about him. I don't remember it, but
it's probably a big mess to clean up.
oh yes, cream it. Well, clean. I'd rather clean the oven today than to do that.
I don't know. Greasy things on the floor is pretty hard.
Yeah, grease is hard. Yeah, I don't know.
So, Mom, want to know. I always think it's interesting to know that you didn't have electricity and indoor plumbing till you were how old?
Well, I was out of college. I mean, I'd left home. Let's put it that way. Okay, for lamps and lighting, I'm sure everybody's seen the old-fashioned lamps or lanterns.
Kerosene.
Yes, and then we got. You've seen those? They're Aladdin, but I don't know. You'd pump it to get some.
Yeah.
We had
You
those.
mean like a Coleman?
Yes, like that.
You use white gas?
I guess so. I think we just go by gallon or something like that.
Oh.
And that was much better because you got a nice brighter light.
Yeah, it's pretty bright.
And for the bathroom, you really want to know.
Yeah, she's gonna want to know.
Well, there was a toilet, and during my good weather, we could use that. And when it was winter and cold and snowy, well, you just had a pot, and you kept it in. Well,
Yeah, but how if you didn't have indoor plumbing? Did you have a toilet? It's outside.
We didn't have one. Oh yeah, don't you remember?
It's just like an outhouse.
Yeah, outhouse. Okay. But if you couldn't get outside, then you seen toilets.
I know
pots.
What you're saying.
Pots.
Yeah, I know what they are.
And over the. Do you remember when you used to go down the basement there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that was a separate little room.
Interesting thing.
That was a separate little room there. There was a door to it.
Okay.
So you'd keep your pot out there.
It'd be cold.
Cold.
It
would freeze. Well, it would freeze too.
Oh.
Yeah. So. And then when the weather got better, you cleaned it and dumped it out and cleaned it up and yeah. But I can remember Isabel Summer telling the similar tales as what I would tell.
So
she lived on a farm too up north.
Up north.
Monoman. I think it was either on or near an Indian reservation where she lived.
There's somebody I know that keeps telling me they have some relative Lake of the Woods or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's way up in the north. I guess never been there, but that's supposed to be very pretty up there, because that's lakes.
Oh, I think it might be that lady at the. It's always at the fast checkout lane. I think she said that.
Oh.
I think she's the one.
Oh, the one that her husband. Oh.
I think so.
Maybe.
I think. Anyway, she has some
I'll go through that counter and I'll tell her someday that I'm from Minnesota, and maybe she'll tell me. I don't, because I hardly ever go through that. I don't go through the lanes anymore with you.
When she checks me, she knows about you, so she.
Oh, I see.
She's always asking about you, and
see.
I don't know. I said I don't know how I got on Minnesota, but she has some connection to Minnesota. I think it's Lake of the Woods. Something her grandfather or something had some sort of resort or something.
Yeah, it's a resort area. Yeah, I've never been up there. I guess it's beautiful up there with the lakes, fishing, and yeah.
Anyway, so when did you get electricity? I mean,
you had to wait until the federal government. What was it called? Rural Electrification, REA, and until they put in the facilities, you didn't have electricity. There were parts of the country did, like Dad always had electricity.
I know, that's amazing.
So it just depends. I don't know how this was chosen. So that's when they got electricity, and then that's when they put in the bathroom and the.
So you had to have someone tear up all your walls to put all the wires and stuff?
I suppose. I suppose Mom had to get an electrician to do all of that. But this was after the war had started, so there was some money. The Depression was kind of over, because I can remember we got a new car then, and yeah. Eileen was still in high school when we got the car, but I don't think the electricity had been put in yet.
What kind of car did you get?
I think it was a Ford. I can remember it was blue. Yeah. And I don't think everybody was able to get, even a farmer, able to get a new car at that time. It was, post-war, there was a lot of things you couldn't get.
Grandpa had a tractor by that time. No?
I don't think so. I don't know when he got the tractor.
Oh, so he was using the horses to pull the plow.
Oh, yeah.
Even then.
I think so. Maybe not. Maybe. I think you'd have to ask Eileen. Because, see, I was 2 years ahead of her, but actually I was 3 years.
Yeah,
because
that's true. Yeah.
So, and back in those days, a few years made a lot of difference
Yeah.
in what the world was doing post-war. Yeah, so I don't know. I was trying to think when I first remember the car. I know Eileen drove it to school there, and she was so excited.
She got to drive it to high school?
But when I was in high school, I drove the one from home. It was an old car, but I drove to school.
Really?
There was no, we didn't have any buses. Yeah. And
is that when you'd sometimes stay with Kit? Grandpa's sister?
It was in high school, but it was when there was really bad weather.
And you didn't want to even take the car?
No. It was probably like the weather they had, recently. And usually it would just be me, and I'm still wondering why Mom let me go. I didn't like Kit very well. Of course, Eileen didn't like her either, but Mom let Eileen stay home. She didn't have to stay with Kit. But there were other times Eileen had to stay with Kit, and I didn't, so I guess it made up for it. During the summer times, she would want somebody to come. When she was out with Charlie never married.
Yeah.
And Kit's husband was dead, and a lot of times during the summer, or a lot of times, I guess winter too, she would go and stay with him. I don't know why. Probably saved money.
With Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she rented her rooms out.
Well, yeah, that was all done. But she was renting her house out then. I don't know but anyway, during the summer months, he lived out near Lynn, which was quite a ways out, and I guess you get lonesome out there. So poor Eileen have to go and stay with her.
With Kit?
Yeah. Yeah. Just because Mom had to do a lot of things. I wouldn't have done it. I just would no way. Just because my dad owed her $3,000. But anyway, I guess, of course, Eileen was in grammar school then, and I guess she's been all the time climbing trees. All this
you mean that
kids. She had to stay with Kit and Charlie. She liked Charlie, but he was working. She couldn't go, but she didn't like Kit. But I never had to do that. But Eileen did. Poor Eileen.
There was no other kids around, I guess.
Well, you're kind of isolated in a lot of farmhouses. Yeah. But Eileen liked to climb trees and do all that, so she kept herself busy, but still,
yeah.
I know she didn't like it. Who would?
Did Charlie did they have like a creek or something?
None on the farm that I remember. Wasn't like ours.
So is that where then your grandparents, when they got old, they went to live with somebody, right?
Yeah,
Is that
Charlie, and then Kit was there at that time too, because that's
she stayed there.
Well, she and her husband were with Charlie. Then I don't know how that happened, but I can remember going over, visiting, and Kit was taking care of Grandma's ulcerations on her feet.
See.
Yeah,
she had diabetes.
Yeah. I think that's the side of the family where it is. That's why Mary Gregoire and other cousins have had it.
I see. Oh, so these are, yeah. So where did they come from, Grandpa's parents?
They came from northeastern Iowa.
Yeah, Reds.
And my mother's...
Red Oak?
No, that's where my mother...
Oh, your mother's from
and that's southwestern Minnesota.
Oh, okay. So they're from, say it again. Where'd you say? The Grandpa's.
Which one?
Grandpa's parents.
Well, my dad's parents came from what's the towns in northeastern Iowa? Doherty was one town. there's several towns they used to talk about, and I don't know exactly which town.
Well, if
they
you
were,
remember it, just tell me.
but my mother's family were from Red Oak, which is southwestern Minnesota. No, Iowa. We're talking about Iowa here.
But both sides were farmers.
Which were most people at that time were. Well, maybe I shouldn't say most, but certainly a lot of people.
Yeah, well, they didn't have the super big farms like now.
Oh, heavens no.
So most people had the same size farms, kind of?
There was 160, then you went up to 320, and then there were some, I guess, 640. I don't know if there were at that time or not. Later there were, yes. But I don't know in the
Probably
beginning.
more people to farm such a big place as that, though.
But farming was so much different than it is. You just can't, it's just like now, you can't compare this era and the era I grew up. There's just no comparison.
The other day I was listening to the radio, I couldn't hardly believe it. This guy had a tractor that they have all in computer, and you could tell which is the low spots, which is boggy spots, how close you should put the seeds. It will do it all for you. And because like if it's very fertile, then you put them together.
Sure,
and if
sure.
It was just amazing. But I think it was Monsanto or something like that, which is some, I don't know.
That's what I've always thought. I just wonder if my dad, or even my mother, she lived when there was well, really not. But my dad, he would turn over in his grave, or be very surprised or something, I don't know what, if he saw how farming is done today.
Yeah. Yeah, I was amazed. It was like all in the computer.
And so many things, not only farming, but so many, the same computerized everything, yeah. Yeah. That's why I just shake my head. I just feel like I'm in a different world.
Well, it's still pretty small time around here.
Well, yeah, it's better than I was living in a big city or someplace.
Or in the Central Valley or someplace.
Was involved, yeah, in farming or in something that I remember from my days. Yeah. Yeah.
I hope Kathleen writes you back so you'll know.
I think she will. It may take a while. She has.
Maybe she's got to find out.
You never know what she's busy with or what her kids are busy with. I know she has 3 kids, and I'm sure they have children, so she's probably involved. But I'm sure she'll write, because anyone that would start writing to me like she did, I think she'll write to me, so I'm not concerned.
She's a writer. That's good.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I guess I'll go.
Yeah, you're learning about the early days in Minnesota.
Yep. 33 minutes. We did pretty good.